All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Curiosity Corner Live. So we are going to take a few minutes, let more people get a chance to join us. But just as a reminder, the Great Lakes Science Center is still closed for the health, safety, and wellness of our guests and our staff and our partners, but we are still bringing you daily science right here at Curiosity Corner Live every day at 10:30 and at 3. So thank you all for joining me this morning. My name is Joy. I'm coming to you live from my home to bring you all the science. Let's see who we had today. We have, hello, Anthony. Good morning. Hello to everybody else. You guys having a good day so far? I'm having a pretty good day. You know, birds, whatever weather Cleveland decides to have today. All right. Oh, good morning, Michelle, a.k.a. Great Lakes Science Center chat moderator. So that's enough time. So today we are going to be chemists, just like our friends at BASF. Now, BASF is one of the largest chemical companies in the world and even have 2 locations nearby. There's one in Elyria and there's one in Beechwood. So we are going to be kitchen chemists today. And being a kitchen chemist just means that we are using stuff that we can find in our cupboards and our kitchens to make something cool. Now, my favorite thing to do with kitchen chemistry is to make Play-Doh. Now, Play-Doh is great because it's something you can do hands-on and you can make a chemical reaction happen right in front of you and then pick it up and play with it. So in order to do that, I need a couple of different materials. First, I'm going to create a mixture. Now, my mixture is just half a cup of flour. If I can get it out of the measuring cup, there we go. Half a cup of flour and 1/8 of a cup of salt. Now, we know this is something called a mixture because it's 2 substances that we're combining together. But there's no chemical reaction. It's still the 2 substances. If we tried hard enough, we could separate that salt from that flour. I don't know why we would want to do that, but we could if we wanted to. So yeah, it's just white powder. You can't really see because of the glare. So that is a mixture. 2 substances that are combined together, no chemical reaction. But we also need something else. This is called a solution. It's just water and food coloring. Now, a solution is a type of mixture because it's also 2 substances that have been combined together. But the difference is we're not going to be able to separate these. It's one blue liquid that's stuck this way now. So we have a solution and we have a mixture, but we really don't have a Play-Doh dough yet. And in order to get that, we need to make a chemical reaction. And the best way to do that is to mix them together. So I'm just going to mix it in a little bit at a time, because if you mix in too much of your water with your flour and salt mixture, you could get a completely different substance. I admit, the first time I made this Play-Doh, I made Play-Doh soup. And Play-Doh soup is not very fun. Not gonna lie. So it's kind of crumbly. That means I need to add more water because we want it to form one dough instead of a mess of crumbs, because that's not very fun either. So what's happening is we are creating a chemical reaction right here. Because instead of just having a powder and a water, we're starting to get one solid dough. That's still a little crumbly. We're getting one solid dough. And because we're changing the makeup of our substance from a powder and a water into a solid dough, we're creating that chemical reaction. Now, this works because when you add flour and water together, if you look down at the tiny, tiny molecules inside the flour and the water, there's proteins that are sticking together that give our dough some structure. There we go. So now we have a dough. And they give our dough structure, and that's what the salt is for. The salt helps those proteins stick together too. So, now as you're making Play-Doh, if you discover that the texture isn't quite right, there's things you can do to fix it. Kind of like I did. If I observe that my dough is still way too crumbly and chalky and I need and it's really dry, I can add a little bit more water. Or if it's really runny and goopy and it sticks to your hands too much, you can add more flour to try and balance out that texture. So now that our chemical reaction has happened, look at that, nice different substance, we want to lock in that moisture. And in order to do that, we need one more substance. If I can, there we go. We need one more substance, and that substance is vegetable oil. You only need a teaspoon of that. And what that does, if you don't spill it like I did, what that does is it locks in that moisture and keeps it a good texture so that way you can play with it and use it. So, cool thing about kitchen chemistry, I just created a completely safe chemical reaction in this bowl right in front of me, and I can immediately pick it up and play with it and build with it, and that's pretty darn fun. But I wonder if this is the only thing I can do with my little chemistry experiment, because, you know, making Play-Doh is pretty fun, and playing with Play-Doh is pretty fun. But one thing that chemists are always doing is they're always looking at new ways to experiment with materials. Because I have here my blue thing of Play-Doh. But you know, I wonder if this is the only way to make colored dough. Because the way I made this, the water and the food coloring were already mixed together. It was already a color when the chemical reaction happened. So I want to experiment to see if there's another way to do this. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to rinse my hands off real quick. So washing your hands is very, very important in general, but also in kitchen chemistry, because I'm all Play-Doh-y now. All right. I have here a ball of white Play-Doh. Can I eat Play-Doh? So this recipe, probably I would not recommend eating it. It is just flour, salt, water, food coloring, and vegetable oil. It would not taste very good. Also, my hands have been in it, so it would also not taste very good, probably. Now, I'm not going to eat it on camera because, again, that would be gross. But I do have some white Play-Doh. So what do you think? Can I make this change color if the food coloring wasn't already in the water? I don't know. Let's see. Well, I think about if I can make this change color. I'm just going to knead it because, you know, kneading Play-Doh helps me think, can I make this change color? That's different. It's not white anymore. So it's slowly turning blue. Huh. Morley Q is admitting to eating Play-Doh. Brave. I'm sure a lot of us probably ate Play-Doh when we were little, or not little. I'm not judging. I have eaten Play-Doh before. I was shorter then. All right, so take a look. Is that white anymore? Doesn't look like it. We have a mixture of blue and white in there. Now, I bet you're wondering, how did I make my Play-Doh magically change colors right before your very eyes? And I did that by experimenting with it. And I discovered if I opened up my Play-Doh and I put a little bit of food coloring in the middle of it and then folded it over and then sealed it so it was a ball again, I could knead it, and then the color would spread throughout the white Play-Doh, giving us a cool marbled effect that changes every time we knead it and fold it and shift it around. Now, just a warning, if you do this, it's really, really easy, but if you get the food coloring directly on your hands, it can stain your fingers. It's non-toxic, it's safe, it'll wash off. If it doesn't 100% wash off, it will fade away within a day or so, so it's completely safe. Just be careful. So, we made a couple of things with chemistry, just like our friends at BASF do every single day. Now, we've learned that Play-Doh involves a lot of chemistry, and it's really fun to build with. But I wonder, is building the only thing you can do with Play-Doh? Because think of it this way. If you think about chemical companies like BASF, they have done research and worked on products for everything from furniture to electronics. So they are constantly finding new ways to make chemistry apply to stuff we use on a daily basis. So I want to see if I can use my chemistry project to solve a problem or answer a question. So my problem is I want to take my pulse. And you can take your pulse a couple of different ways. You can take 2 fingers and feel your neck and find a vein below your jawline. Or you can try and find your vein in your wrist and take your pulse that way. But sometimes it's kind of hard to find. So I want to see if I can use Play-Doh to solve this problem. So what do you think? Can I use Play-Doh to find my pulse? I don't know. So in order to try this, I'm going to use store-bought dough. My homemade Play-Doh will work just fine for this. But the store-bought dough is a little bit thicker and firmer and easier to see the effect on there. So I just need a tiny little ball, like that big. And I'm going to put it on my wrist. And then I'm going to not drop it. I'm going to put it on my wrist just like that. And then all we need to take our pulse is a toothpick. So make sure you watch the toothpick nice and close. This moves a little bit and it's really, really fast. Here we go. See, hold it up nice and close. See that toothpick starting to move a little bit? My arm isn't moving. It's being held steady by that bowl. But that movement is my pulse. So that's pretty darn cool. So I'm able to take my pulse using a ball of Play-Doh. So that is a fun way that we can use chemistry to solve a real world problem and answer a question. So now that we've learned that Play-Doh is all chemistry, and you can use it for different applications, including taking your pulse, I have a challenge for you. So I want you to become kitchen chemists and Play-Doh engineers. So if you have some Play-Doh at home, you can go ahead and grab it. Or better yet, make your own Play-Doh. My recipe is pretty simple. It just uses flour, salt, water, food coloring, and vegetable oil. There are some recipes out there that use cream of tartar. There's some that use lemon juice. You can even use gluten-free flour if you have a gluten allergy. So make some Play-Doh, find a recipe that you like, and then I want you to do something new and unexpected with it. Either try building something that you've never built before, or see if you can come up with a real-world question or problem that your Play-Doh can help you solve, like taking my pulse. Now, make sure you share your creations with us on our social media. Tag us. Use our hashtag #StayCuriousCLE. And once you are done creating, make sure you wash your hands because this can get really, really messy. And then clean up your workspace, put your materials away. So make sure you come back right here to Curiosity Corner live at 3 o'clock. I have one more experiment with you that I'm going to use my little chemistry project, and we are going to combine it with circuitry. So that's going to be awesome. And you'll get a sneak peek at this weekend's special experiment episodes of Curiosity Corner Live. So get creating, have fun, and until next time, stay curious.